Hello everybody and welcome to a quick look at Google Stadia. Now, I'm sure that you're in a similar boat to myself. I have found myself with a lot more time on my hands. And with that time, I thought to myself, this is the perfect opportunity to catch up with things that I have been waiting to do or I've been putting off in the past. Those things are TV shows that I need to catch up on, films that I never got around to seeing, and video games that I've been putting off. Now, if you have been wanting to play certain video games like The Division 2 or Red Dead Redemption 2, but you don't own a PC, a video games console or something that can play the current games on, then this is definitely for you, because I'm going to be looking at something that could help you to play these games without having to fork out a large chunk of money to play these games. Now, if you have never seen one of my quick looks before, I'll very briefly explain it. So this is going to be a completely unbiased look at Google Stadia. I am not going to be giving you people's opinions. I'm not going to be discussing what they should have had or how it's supposed to work. I'm not discussing what people wanted or what was promised. I am just going to be explaining what it is, how it works, for the people that don't fully understand or have never heard of it before. And then after that fact, I am then going to give my personal opinion, whether I think it's value for money, whether I think it's worth giving it a look, whether I think it works. But I'm not going to be doing any of that first, because I don't think it's fair that some people try to push their opinion in their review when they should really be explaining what it is and whether it works and all of this kind of stuff. So that is going to be this video. If you already know what Google Stadia is, then by all means there is a timestamp in the description. You can click on that and it will jump straight to me talking about what I feel about it and whether I think it's value for money and how, just my general opinion. And other than that, let's jump straight in. So I am going to break it down into essentially 3 sections. For those who have no idea, this is going to be informative for you, because first of all I'm going to explain what it actually is. Then I'm going to go into how it works, and I'm going to just show you how it works, so you can know how to use it. And then finally I'm going to look at what it physically has in terms of video games that are available right now for you to play. Now, Google Stadia is a video game cloud streaming service brought to you by the company Google. Now, everyone's heard of Google. They're a very well known, one of the most used search engines on practically every device, whether it be a mobile device or a gaming device or a TV. They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. And they have decided that they want to use the infrastructure they've already set up to provide people with top-of-the-line video games without the need for installing or patching or updating. As well as that, they also want the games to be available to people on any device that they physically already own, and they don't have to then go out and buy new consoles. Now, for a lot of people, with the new consoles down the line, this could be an option, because the new consoles that are due to be released the end of this year, there's a chance that you could be looking at 400-500 if we're lucky. Whereas with this, a lot of the general release games will be available through Google Stadia, and you're only paying a small monthly subscription fee. And what they've basically been able to offer is they're basically a video game shop that is currently available on any device that you currently can access Google through. So if you have a smartphone, if you have a tablet, any computer, any PC will work, or Mac. The specs don't matter. So if you have a really old laptop that is miles away from being able to run any games, it will still work 100% fine as long as you can connect to the internet. Even smart TVs have the ability to connect to Google Stadia, and then once you set up an account, you then access the store, purchase the game that you are after, and then push play, and the game boots up and it's ready to go. Now, because it's a video game, that means you will be needing a controller. Depending on the outlet, depends on which controller you'll have to get yourself. Google Stadia themselves do offer a Pro controller that actually comes with a dongle for the TV, so you can plug it straight in and it will connect straight to the store through the TV, so that's always handy. Or if you already own a controller for your PC, then that works perfectly fine. I currently use an Xbox One controller that is wirelessly connected to my PC, but you can use wired controllers. And if you're going to use Stadia through a mobile phone or a tablet, then you will be needing to get yourself a Bluetooth controller. But there are a large selection. For example, the Bluetooth controller that I use on my mobile devices is the NES 30 Pro from 8-Bit Do. It's a fantastic controller. And actually, I'd advise, if you are interested in getting a Bluetooth controller, they have a large selection, so I'd say maybe go and look at them. But once you have your account, you've purchased your game, and you have connected your controller, you're good to go. That is it. And every month they update, so there will be a selection of new games added to the store. They also offer free games, so if you don't necessarily want to purchase a game right away, you have the option of choosing any of the free games, and you can just play them to your heart's content once you have claimed them. There are a multitude of multiplayer games, like the games I've already mentioned with The Division 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2. If you and your buddies are looking to try and play something together in the crisis that's currently happening, then you guys can all sign up and you can play these games together. And the last interesting piece of information is that they are currently offering 2 months for free. Now, you will have to sign up and put a credit card in, because at the end of the 2 months they will then take a monthly payment. So if you get to the end of the 2 months and you don't want a subscription anymore, you will have to remember to cancel. But you know what? That's not a problem. A lot of places offer that now. As long as you get the most out of it and you remember to cancel, then the 2 months is there for you as a gift in this current crisis. So I'm now going to go into how it works. I'm going to show you how it works on a PC. It's a little bit difficult to capture the mobile devices for me and my current setup, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Alright, so here, as you can see, we have Google Stadia. I am logged in. See, there's me in the corner, little fat dinosaur. This is the store. I've gone to the store because the home page and the Stadia button only takes you to my purchased games. And we'll go and look at that in a minute, but it's not as fun, so I haven't gone straight to that. But you can see in the store, You've got top selling games. You've got any deals they've currently got running. These are all the free games. And these are all the new releases they have. All the ones on sale. And then just all their games. So they've got a, they've broken them down so that if you want to find certain things you can. And then you see, if I click on home, so you can see I've got Guilt, I've got SteamWorld Dig 2, which is just one of my best games ever. I adore that game. And then PUBG, because playing PUBG is fun, and jumping into a quick game, is something that you can do on Stadia. And you can see those are the only games I've done so far. But I'm going to show you how this works from a physically working point of view. So what we're going to do is we click on play, and there we go. The game is loading. And there you go, the game is loading. Now, as you can see, we're in the menu. I can click on new game. See now, like I said, I'm using a controller. So there you go, I can choose my options for the game. So you see I can just go into options, change the options around, I can just start a new game, I can continue where I left off. I don't have to install anything, it's just the game is loaded. If I exit, see it takes me back, you give a little rating, I can skip it because I didn't really play the game. And then if I pick SteamWorld Dig and click play, here comes this game, and it's loading up as well. There you go. So you see the games load quickly. Now I have a very good and speedy internet because I stream and I make games, so for me, my internet may be quicker than yours. Maybe, we don't know, but as you can see, just to show that it does kind of play, I'm just waiting for it to, yep, there we go, and now I can just dig, and there you go, and this is, I'm playing the game, this is the full game from where I left off, and then I can just exit out of the game by holding the escape key. I can say that's good because I love that game. And then you can just go in and out of the games. Now, to show kind of how purchasing the games work, I'm not going to purchase a game, but I'm going to click a new free game. So we're going to go to see all. And then you look at the games that you want. And then you click on the game, and you click on claim, boom, and then you just click on the play button, and away we go. There you go. I have just purchased and I am playing Destiny 2. Now, as we've said with all of these games, if any patches come out, you have to be careful. You don't have to worry, because the patches are all done at Google Stadia level. As far as Google Stadia is concerned, they will do all the patches, and you will never see it say load in or needs a patch. It will do all of that for you. So for you, you just load up, choose a game, play a game. Now, they have also tried to get so that the games will just run on all devices. But again, not only do you have to have there we go. Wasn't sure what was happening there. Yeah, not only do you have to have an internet connection, you have to have a controller. So, you know, don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong at all with wanting to use a device. Yeah, that all looks fine. With wanting to play this on a mobile device or on a tablet, nothing wrong at all. But you have to make sure that you have an internet connection, and you have to make sure that you have a controller. Now, the one thing I'm going to mention before I get into the choice of games that they have and the cost. Before I get into the choice of games that they have, I just want to make it very clear that if you are using a mobile device to play Google Stadia, make sure that you are not using mobile data unless you know 100% that your mobile data is okay with you using large chunks, because this will use large chunks of data. And if you don't realize and you have it, you see now I'm playing the game. So you can see I just had to get through the menu, but I'm now into it and playing it. But yeah, you want to make sure that frankly you do not have your mobile data turned on, because that will be incredibly costly and a major surprise that you do not need in this current day and age, with everything going on the way that it is. So yeah, you want to make sure that you have a internet connection that you can access, that you know is fine. Or like I said, if you do have mobile data that is unlimited, then that's not a problem either.
It's a risk, but I'll get us more light. Hard military system. Check.
But again, you just want to make sure is all.
Flip this switch. Expect trouble.
Alright, so I'm going to come out of this.
Not good.
We might come back afterwards, because I'm basically now going to go through the store very quickly. So it'll be just a very quick look at what there is, as the name suggests. So we're going to go to all games. Now, like I said at the very beginning, there are a lot of people talking about the games that are available, either because they expected more or because they were under the impression there would be certain games that weren't, or whatever. But all of that is irrelevant, because what they have is what they have. So if we go to the bottom, because I put them in order of like the earliest to the most recent. So as you can see, we have Rise of the Tomb Raider, we have Metro Exodus, Final Fantasy 15, Destiny 2, now the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now these are all very big games. These are kind of big open spanning RPGs, as is Red Dead. Farming Sim is everywhere at the moment, so it would be weird if it wasn't on here. But then we have Mortal Kombat 11, which is a big multiplayer game. Wolfenstein Youngblood, multiplayer game. Obviously Destiny 2 is. So they've got a selection. They've got Just Dance, which is a great family, enjoyable, fun type game. Football Manager. So they've got a variety. They've got a nice selection. Darksiders Genesis, fantastic game. Definitely worth a play. I've already said about all the SteamWorld games are fun as hell. SteamWorld Dig 2 is the best out of the lot of them. Absolutely adore that game. The Division 2 is good for the multiplayer. Doom Eternal. Crew 2. It's a fantastic driving game that allows you to change between cars, planes and boats. Love that game. So you can see that the selection of games, they've got a cross between multiplayer games for groups of people to play together, big open world RPGs for single players to really get their teeth into, and family fun games like Monopoly and Just Dance. So, you know, they have a selection of things for you to play, and that is Google Stadia. Now, the subscription itself, I was going to go through the prices, but it's going to vary depending on your country. For me, it is, in the UK, it's $8.99 a month. And then, like I said, you have a selection of free games, together with a collection of store games that you can buy and purchase. And once you purchase them, they're yours to play across the platforms. So, if you don't have a console or a proper gaming PC, then by all means sign up now. You get 2 free months, so always gives you the chance to try it and see if it's for you. And yeah, that's everything. So right now I am going to be discussing my opinion of it, and to do so I am just going to go straight back to Destiny 2. Okay, so first of all, you know, I want to be constructive. So I'm going to break up my opinion based upon what I personally feel, and about the service itself, then what I feel about the actual game selection, and then how I feel about the service. So, Google Stadia, what do I think? Now, honestly, I think it's good. If we were being brutally honest, and you know, we were looking at it for purely its baser options, so for someone that doesn't have a system, for someone that doesn't have the ability to play games, to buy consoles, or just can't afford to fork out for a brand new console, even if it's an older console, it's still looking at a good 200 quid. Paying $8.99 a month is more than reasonable. It really is. So I think the service itself is top quality. You know, they are Google, which means that they definitely have, you know, the infrastructure in place, and it allows them to bring you a system that very much works on multiple devices and on mobile devices. So, you know, I think it's great. I genuinely think it's a great idea. Now, obviously, they're not the only people that are offering this kind of a service. But yeah, I think it's fine. If you personally are in a position where you don't have the ability to just purchase the console, then I think it's great. I think it's fine. I think it's exactly what you would be looking for. You do have to fork out for a controller, but you can buy cheap controllers nowadays. They're not the most expensive things in the world. Mobile controllers you will have to fork out a little bit more for, but nowadays I would say you want to look into second-hand shops. There are shops in the UK that are CEX and cache converters. They tend to have like cheap and decent controllers that will work and do the job for you. So it is something to look for. So yeah, it's something I would definitely say is positive. Now, as far as the system that they've got goes, the issue with the system, now, they have a massive infrastructure which is supposed to give you access to all these games without issues, without problems, that it just has the access to the games. But I will say that I struggled a little bit with streaming. Now, it was only a little bit here and a little bit there. It wasn't a full-blown thing all the time. But occasionally I'd be playing the games and suddenly it would just, the screen would go black, but I could still hear the game running. And then eventually, after a little while, the game would load back up and I would have moved, you know, a couple of feet. But it was just sitting there waiting for me to play. Now, that is a concern. That's a problem. Because frankly, you don't know whether that's going to happen, or if you're going to be in an important moment. What, like for example, I'm now playing this game. If I had walked into that room back there with those people, and the screen had just gone black, I'd probably have just been dead when it came back on. And you can't have that in games. You know, considering it's the service that is specifically priding itself on like a streaming type network, then you know that's not great. You can't have it doing that, because you know people need to be able to play these games. Now, even though it only happened a few times is more than it should. Yeah, and honestly, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And again, it's like, oh well, it was only a few seconds. It was only a couple of times. It shouldn't be happening at all. Google are the biggest company as far as whether it be Google searching or the devices they're on or the infrastructure they have. I have one of the best internets that you can get. You know, like I said, I stream 3 days a week on 2 different platforms at the same time. I never have a problem with connection or one of the streams looking a lot worse than the other or any of that. I have a very strong connection, and there's no excuse for the stream to not give me what it was. So yeah, no, that was quite bad considering what they're supposed to be offering. You know, it's really not great. And if we're being honest, the games that they're actually offering, not great either, I would say, because the games that they're offering, well, I say that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back out now, I think, because if I want to play this, then I'm going to play it with friends. I don't necessarily need to play it on here. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to come out because I'm going to be discussing the video games that they have on option. So I'm going to come back out now and have a quick look. Now, the video games are awkward to discuss because they have some seriously good video games on their selection. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, fantastic game. Really good. Borderlands 3, top of the range game. Darksiders Genesis, one of my games of the year so far. But I am a Darksiders fan, so for me that's a fantastic game. As you just saw, Destiny 2 and The Crew 2 are fantastic multiplayer games, together with The Division 2 was also on here. Doom Eternal, fantastic game. Final Fantasy 15's a bit old now, but you know, it's on sale, so the price itself is pretty decent. Metro Exodus is, again, it's a good game, but it's a big open world multiplayer game. Octopath Traveler, if you hadn't played it, then it definitely is a game you should look at. Rage 2 is really fun, and over the top action is excellent. Red Dead 2. The Rise of the Tomb Raider. See, the problem I'm finding is they've got a largish selection. They've got a selection of big open world RPG and multiplayer games that they want in order to entice either or. As far as family games go, they don't really have many. I mean, the only ones they really have, in my opinion, is Monopoly and Just Dance. Those are the family games, and they're good, but that's kind of it, you know. So for me, I don't know. I feel like the reason I have just an issue with the quantity of games is because if you compare the store that they currently have to any of the other game stores that exist. Now, I'm a member of a bunch of them. Steam is the obvious comparison because Steam is the biggest game store that's out there. Epic Game Stores is also an easy comparison because they're currently giving away free games every week, which Stadia have a list of free games. So those are the two to compare it to directly. But there is also a host of other stores that just have a lot more choice than this. A lot more choice. In comparison, there's basically no games on Google Stadia when you compare it to any other outlet. I mean, one of the smallest game stores I would say that's out there is Humble Bundle. They are a company that do bundles of software and other things for charity. And basically the money that you give, some of it can go to charity, etc. And you see these have all the same games. Red Dead 2, Odyssey, Doom Eternal. These are all the games we saw just now. But these have a larger selection. There's a considerably bigger selection. Now, I know before, people start saying anything, I understand that you can't just click and play these games. You will have to download them and install them on a PC. But for me, you can't not compare the games that are available on Stadia to any other store like Humble Bundle, because you can get the same games, and a lot of the games that we just mentioned don't actually require a massive amount of gaming ability to play. So there's a chance that if you're running it on a PC or a laptop, a lot of the games that they've got you could probably play on your laptop anyway. You would have to install it, but that's just here nor there. It really doesn't make that much of a difference, I don't think. And then for me, looking at their free games, I don't know. I have a somewhat of a problem. I really like the fact that under their free games, you've got PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and you've got Destiny 2. And if we're going to be honest, we've got Grid as well. Those free games are good, fun, multiplayer games that you can play with your buddies or you can play on your own. That's fantastic. As far as single player games go, you don't have a massive selection really. I mean, Guilt is really fun That's a really good game. And SteamWorld Dig 2 is one of my favourite games. Quest is also... all the SteamWorld games are good. But, yeah, they haven't really given anything to really get you interested in the free aspect of the games that they have to play. And if you feel that a subscription to access the store is a concern, like I do, then I agree that the free games aren't enough to entice you. Epic Games, to go back to that, they are giving free games. They have been giving free games away for over a year and a half now, I think it is. It's come into at least one game a week. Most weeks it's been 2. Some of those games have been massive games, and there's no subscription fee. Again, you will have to install all those games, so the subscription fee is supposedly to be paying for the option of not having to install the games and to access your games wherever you want. But it still just feels like they're charging you to access a store, which you then have to pay full price for most of these games for. So, for me, I think the idea is definitely positive. I think it's a fantastic thing. And I think for people that don't want to or physically can't afford to fork out for the new consoles down the line, this is definitely an option. This is definitely an option. The slight issues I had with playing the games shouldn't be happening. It's that simple. It should not be happening. With a service they offer in the internet I have, there shouldn't be any issues. So that is a problem for me. And the game choice, they just need to increase it. For the fact that the Stadia has been running for a little while, there should be considerably more games on their store by now. And I'm 100% sure know why they haven't necessarily done that yet. But, you know, the only positive out of this is that it can only get better, you know. So, yeah, so in my opinion, if you genuinely can't afford it or don't have one, then get it now. Because it is free for 2 months. So buy it, give it a try, play a couple of the games and see how you feel. If you're not happy with a subscription, then maybe look into what some of these games need, because you'd be surprised at how good some games will run on smaller and slower PCs. So take a look. And that has been my quick look on Google Stadia. So I hope this was informative and I hope that this helped you in some way. If it did, please like and subscribe. I've done a bunch of other quick looks in the past, one quite recently. So if you want to see that, then by all means go and take a look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're staying safe out there. I will see you again next time.